You're calling your husband right now inside this courtroom?
Yes, Judge. He's a senator, and you need to hear him.
Ma'am, this court does not bow to titles.
Then let's put him on speaker and see.
You understand this call becomes public record.
Good. Maybe then you'll remember who I am.
Are you trying to intimidate this court?
No, Judge. I'm reminding you who really has the power.
The courtroom is dead silent when she does it. The woman in the designer blazer lifts her phone, looks Judge Caprio dead in the eye, and says in a sharp, entitled voice, "I'm calling my husband. He's a United States Senator. This is a joke." She taps the screen. The ringtone echoes in the courtroom like a warning siren. The clerk freezes. The officer's jaw clenches. People in the gallery stare, not sure if this is real life or a movie. Judge Caprio leans back, his eyes never leaving her. "Ma'am," he says quietly, "if you make that call, this courtroom will hear every word." She doesn't care. She smirks. "Good," she replies. "Maybe you'll remember who you're talking to." The call connects. A man's confident voice comes through the speaker. "Honey. I'm in a meeting, this better be." Judge Caprio interrupts, his voice suddenly steel. "Senator, this is Judge Frank Caprio from the Providence Municipal Court. You are on speaker, and this is a public record." The entire courtroom goes still. And then, what happens next, no one in that room ever forgets. Before that shocking moment, the day starts like any other in Judge Caprio's courtroom. The rain outside has left the courthouse steps wet and shining, reflecting the gray Rhode Island sky. People shuffle in, some nervous, some annoyed, some humbled by life. The air inside the courtroom is a mix of coffee, old wood, and quiet tension. Fluorescent lights hum softly overhead, but the real spotlight is on the bench where Judge Caprio will soon sit. The seal of the city hangs behind his chair, stern and symbolic. A camera crew sets up in the corner, adjusting focus. This is the kind of courtroom where real human stories unfold. Tickets, small fines, big emotions. The officer at the side door checks a list. "Next group's ready," he mutters. An older man with a cane, wearing a weathered brown coat, slips into the first row. He holds his hat in both hands, knuckles white. Next to him, a younger woman in scrubs checks her phone anxiously, probably heading to her next shift at the hospital. On the left side of the room, a smartly dressed woman walks in like she owns the building. Heels clicking. Chin high. Eyes scanning the room not with curiosity, but evaluation. Her name is Vanessa Cole. Early 40s. Impeccable hair, flawless makeup, expensive bag, and a look that says, "I do not belong here with these people." The officer calls out. "Case of Vanessa Cole. Multiple violations." The murmurs start immediately. Vanessa flicks her hair back, annoyed at the sound, as if the air is beneath her. Judge Caprio enters from the side door. Everyone rises. The room settles. The gavel is placed gently on the bench. The cameras roll. And in that mix of everyday struggles and small-town justice, one of the most unforgettable showdowns of power, ego, and humility is about to begin. The clerk reads out the charges. "Your Honor, this is the matter of Vanessa Cole. We have excessive speeding in a school zone. Illegal parking in a handicapped space. Operating a vehicle while on a handheld device. And failure to yield to a pedestrian in a crosswalk." The judge nods. "Ms. Cole, good morning." She doesn't say, "Good morning," back. She inhales slowly, folding her arms. "Let's be clear," she says. "I don't usually deal with things like this personally. My husband's office handles this kind of paperwork." She says paperwork like it's beneath her. Like the law is just a stack of forms waiting for her assistant. Judge Caprio's eyebrows lift just slightly. "This paperwork is a list of traffic violations," he replies calmly. "Allegations that you endangered people. This is not a clerical error. She smirks. With respect, Judge, I donate more to this city in a week than most people in this room will in their lives. I'm not a criminal. I was running late. Kids will be fine. Nobody got hurt. A low murmur moves through the gallery. The officer who stopped her, Officer Ruiz, shifts his weight. He remembers the way she'd rolled her window halfway down, sunglasses on, nails tapping the steering wheel as she snapped. Do you know who my husband is? In court, she keeps going. You're making a circus out of this. Flashing cameras, old man with a gavel, poor people in the back row. Honestly? I have real problems to deal with. My husband is in Washington trying to fix this country. You should be thanking him, not wasting our time over a parking spot. The nurse in scrubs lowers her eyes. The older man with the cane stares at the floor. Judge Caprio studies Vanessa for a long moment. Ms. Cole, are you suggesting, he asks slowly, that your husband's job places you above the law? She doesn't even hesitate. I'm suggesting, she says, that my life is a little more important than a few paint lines on the road. The air is suddenly thick. Even the cameras seem to lean closer. She leans on the podium like it's a negotiation, not a hearing. If this court wants to escalate this, I can make one phone call and this whole thing goes away. The chief knows my husband. Half this city owes him favors. So either we wrap this up with a warning, or we drag everyone into a mess they really don't need. Her tone is clear, I'm untouchable. In the back row, the man with the cane closes his eyes like he's heard this kind of power before, and paid the price for it. Judge Caprio glances at the file in front of him. There's a note clipped to the top, victim present in court. He looks toward the gallery. Is Mr. Daniels here? The older man with the cane slowly stands, holding onto the bench in front of him for balance. Yes, Your Honor, he says softly. He walks forward, each step careful, deliberate. His coat looks too big on him, his shoes worn. But his eyes are clear. State your full name for the record, the judge says. Walter Daniels, sir. And, Mr. Daniels, Judge Caprio continues, how are you connected to this case? Walter glances at Vanessa, then back at the judge. I've been the crossing guard outside Lincoln Elementary for 18 years, he says. I helped the kids cross where Miss Cole was ticketed for speeding. The day she was stopped, my granddaughter was with me. She's 10. A hush falls over the room. Walter's hand trembles slightly as he grips his cane. We were halfway through the crosswalk, he continues. I had my sign up. The lights were flashing. That car, he points shakily toward Vanessa, came around the corner so fast, I thought. That was it. All I saw was headlights. I pulled my granddaughter back by her backpack. My knee gave out. I fell. Vanessa rolls her eyes, barely, but enough. We weren't even close, she mutters under her breath. But the mic picks it up. The crowd hears it. Walter swallows, looking down. The officer helped me up, he says, voice breaking. He kept asking if we were okay. My granddaughter, she wouldn't stop crying. That night, she asked me if I was too old to protect her. He wipes his eyes with the back of his hand. I used to wear a uniform too, he adds quietly. Army. Vietnam. I promised myself when I came home, if I could keep even one child safe, then all that was worth it. So I stand in that rain, in that snow, every morning. All I ask is that drivers slow down. The nurse in scrubs presses her lips together, fighting her own tears. Judge Caprio's voice softens. Mr. Daniels, did you recognize the car? I recognize the attitude, Walter says. The window rolled down, and she laughed. Told the officer she had somewhere important to be. Said we should be more careful. Vanessa stiffens. Are we really going to let every emotional story dictate the law now? She snaps. You're making it sound like I tried to kill someone. I didn't. I was late. People exaggerate when they want sympathy. Walter flinches like he's been slapped. The room is split between heartbreak and fury. And that's when Judge Caprio's eyes go cold. Judge Caprio takes off his glasses and sets them slowly on the bench. That little movement alone quiets the room even more. People who've watched him for years know, when he takes off his glasses, he's not just reading the law anymore. He's reading you. Ms. Cole, he begins, voice low, in this courtroom, we see all kinds of people. Single mothers, veterans, students, people who have lost everything. Most of them walk in here scared, respectful, hoping for mercy. He gestures toward Walter. Mr. Daniels has been helping children cross that street longer than some of the officers here have been alive. He served his country. Now he serves his community. And today, he serves this court as a witness. He leans forward. You stand there, with every advantage life could give you, money, influence, connections, and you talk about this like it's beneath you. Like almost running down a grandfather and his granddaughter is just, inconvenient. Vanessa shifts, but doesn't speak. The law doesn't care who your husband is, Judge Caprio says firmly. A crosswalk doesn't light up differently for a senator's wife. A car doesn't brake faster because there's a title in the glove compartment. He pauses, letting the words land. I've lived long enough to know something, he continues. Real power doesn't need to shout, do you know who I am? Real power says, how can I help? Real power bends down to pick up the man who fell in the crosswalk. Real power apologizes. He fixes her with a steady gaze. What you've shown here today is not power. It's fear dressed up as arrogance. You are so afraid of being treated like everyone else, you don't realize that being treated like everyone else is exactly what justice is. The gallery is motionless. Vanessa swallows. For the first time, there's a flicker, a tiny one, of doubt in her eyes. Now, the judge says quietly, you mentioned a phone call. You said your husband could handle this. He leans back. I think this court would benefit from hearing exactly how he intends to do that. Vanessa hesitates. For a split second, she looks like she might back down. Then the entitlement kicks back in like a reflex. Fine, she says. Let's put this in perspective. She pulls out her phone, unlocks it, scrolls, and taps. The dialing tone rings through the courtroom speakers. It feels surreal, this private call turned into a public stage. Ms. Cole, Judge Caprio warns, as I stated, this is on the record. Good, she answers. Maybe you'll think twice before dragging people like us in here. The line clicks. Honey, comes the voice. I'm about to go into a briefing. This better be important. It is, she snaps. I'm in some local court over traffic tickets. This judge is making a show out of it. I told him who you are. He doesn't seem to care. Can you speak to him? Or call whoever you need to call so we can end this. She lifts the phone so the mic catches every word. Judge Caprio's voice is calm but loaded. Senator, this is Judge Frank Caprio. You are on speakerphone, in open court. Your wife has suggested that your position may influence the outcome of her case. Would you like to comment on that? There's a long, heavy silence. The gallery leans forward. Officer Ruiz glances at Walter. The nurse stops breathing. Then the senator speaks. But his voice is not angry. It's strained. Frank, he says quietly, is this, the Providence Municipal Court? The judge tilts his head. Yes, Senator. Do we know each other? We've never met, the senator replies. But I've watched you. My mother loved your court. She used to call me and tell me about your cases. She passed away last year. The room wasn't expecting that. Vanessa frowns, confused. "Tom, what are you doing?" she whispers. The senator ignores her. "Judge," he continues, louder now, "is there, by any chance, a Mr. Walter Daniels in that courtroom?" Every head turns. Walter freezes. "Why yes, sir," he stammers. "Walter Daniels," the senator repeats. "From Lincoln Elementary?" Walter nods slowly. "Yes. I work there." "You walked my son across that street," the senator's voice cracks slightly through the speaker. "Every morning, when he was in first grade. You held his hand when I couldn't be there. You told him to listen to his mother. You saluted me once when I was rushing to the airport. Do you remember?" Tears spill into Walter's eyes. "Yes, sir," he whispers. "I remember your boy. Smart kid. Always asked questions." The courtroom is absolutely frozen. Even Vanessa has lost her words. "Frank," the senator continues, "if my wife endangered that man or those children, she gets no special treatment. None." Vanessa's mouth drops open. "Tom." "Vanessa," the senator says sharply now, "you called me from a courtroom to ask me to misuse the office the people trusted me with. Do you understand what you're asking?" She starts to panic. I was just, this is ridiculous. It's a school zone, it's not." And then, another phone starts ringing. From the back row. The entire courtroom turns as a man in a dark suit stands up, holding his own phone, the same call, still connected. The senator himself is standing in the courtroom. He had slipped in quietly, staff at the back, to observe local hearings that affected his district. He never expected his own wife's name to be called. Jaw after jaw drops. The cameras swing to catch his face. Vanessa looks like she's seen a ghost. "Tom," she shouts. "What are you doing here?" He ends the call and walks down the aisle, his shoes echoing on the floor. He doesn't look at the cameras. He doesn't look at anyone, except Walter. He extends his hand. His voice is barely steady. "Mr. Daniels," he says, "I am so sorry. Whatever happened out there, you did not deserve a car bearing my name to threaten your life's work." Walter takes his hand slowly. "Senator, I'm not asking for anything," he says. "Just for people to slow down." The senator nods, fighting emotion. Then he finally turns to his wife. "Vanessa," he says, cold and hurt, "you don't speak for my office. Or for the people who put me there. Today, you stand as a citizen. Nothing more. Nothing less." The twist is complete. The woman who thought power would save her, just watched power stand on the other side of the room. Whatever armor Vanessa has left, cracks. She looks at her husband, at Walter, at Judge Caprio, and then at the gallery full of ordinary people she's been treating like background scenery. Her voice, for the first time, is small. "Tom, I didn't mean." "You didn't mean to get caught," he replies quietly. "You meant every word." She stares at the floor, swallowing hard. Her manicured fingers grip the edge of the podium. The confidence is gone. There's a different kind of fear now, the kind that has nothing to do with fines and everything to do with who you are as a person. Judge Caprio watches her carefully. "Ms. Cole," he says, "this is your opportunity. Not as a senator's wife. Not as someone in expensive shoes. As Vanessa. The human being who nearly hit a grandfather and his granddaughter. Is there anything you want to say?" The microphone waits. Vanessa's shoulders begin to shake. Her eyes gloss over. Her voice breaks right down the middle. I'm sorry," she whispers at first. The judge doesn't move. "Look at him when you say it," he instructs. She lifts her eyes to Walter. The weight of what she almost did, and what she actually did with her words, finally hits. Mr. Daniels, she chokes, I am so sorry. I didn't see you. I just saw the time, my schedule, my problems. I didn't think about your granddaughter. Or your knee. Or your fear. I just thought. I'm important. I can fix this later. Tears spilled down her cheeks, streaking her perfect makeup. When the officer stopped me, she continues, voice shaking, I laughed because I thought there was no way any of this would touch me. I said stupid, ugly things. I waved my husband's name around like a pass. I hear myself now and I hate that person. Her hands cover her face for a moment. The courtroom is silent except for her sobs and the soft creak of benches as people shift uncomfortably, because seeing arrogance crumble is raw, messy, and real. She lowers her hands. Your Honor, she says, turning to Judge Caprio, I deserve whatever you decide. I know that now. Not because I got caught. Because, if my car had been 1 foot closer. She breaks again, gasping for breath. My mother used to tell me, she sobs, that someday my pride would destroy something I love. I thought she was just being dramatic. But today I walked into this courtroom ready to use my husband's career as a weapon. And instead, I almost dragged his entire name through the mud. I embarrassed him. I betrayed the people who voted for him. And I nearly broke a grandfather's promise to his granddaughter. Her knees weaken. For a moment, it looks like she might collapse. The officer steps a little closer, just in case. There is no more smirk. No more dominance. Just a woman who finally sees the crater behind her footsteps. Judge Caprio lets the silence breathe. He knows the silence is sometimes the heaviest sentence. Then he puts his glasses back on and speaks. Ms. Cole, he begins, the law requires that I address your violations. But I also have a responsibility to address something deeper, the message we send when people with power try to bend the system around themselves. He picks up the ticket file. First, he says, the legal consequences. For speeding in a school zone, illegal parking in a handicapped space, using a mobile device while driving, and failure to yield, combined with the aggravating circumstances, you are fined a total of $1,500. Payable in full within 30 days. She nods, eyes down. The senator doesn't flinch. He knew worse was coming. Second, the judge continues, the moral consequence. He looks directly at her. You tried to use your husband's position to avoid accountability. So I'm going to require you to confront the reality of what could have happened. You will attend a victim impact panel. You will listen to families who have lost loved ones because someone couldn't be bothered to slow down or put their phone away. You will sit there, not as a VIP, but as one more face in that room. You will sign in. You will stay until the end. And this court will verify your attendance. Vanessa bites her lip, nodding, tears still falling. Finally, he says, the community consequence. He turns toward Walter. Mr. Daniels, how many years did you say you've been at that crosswalk? 18, Your Honor, Walter replies softly. 18 years, the judge repeats. You have given this city almost 2 decades of service for a modest paycheck, in the rain, in the snow, in the heat, keeping children safe. He faces Vanessa again. Ms. Cole, for the next 6 months, for 2 mornings each week, you will report to Lincoln Elementary and assist Mr. Daniels as a crossing guard. Gasps ripple through the room. Vanessa looks stunned. You will wear the vest, the judge continues. You will hold the sign. You will learn the names of those children. You will hear their laughter. You will feel what it's like to stand between a speeding car and a small hand. And if you fail to appear, every single time, this court will impose the maximum penalties allowed under law and refer this matter to the ethics committee overseeing your husband's office. He pauses, letting that sink in. One more thing, he adds. On the first day you stand at that crosswalk, you will walk up to Mr. Daniels, look him in the eye, and say, "Thank you for doing this for my community when I didn't bother to." Because that's what he's been doing. Walter's eyes shine with surprise. The senator exhales slowly, relief and awe mixed on his face. Vanessa nods through her tears. "Yes, Your Honor," she whispers. "I'll do it. All of it." Judge Caprio lifts the gavel. "This isn't about humiliating you," he says. "It's about educating you. The law can fine your wallet, but only experience can reach your heart." Sentencing is imposed as stated. Bang! The gavel falls. But the story isn't finished. 6 months later, the sky over Lincoln Elementary is blue instead of gray. Children in colorful backpacks run toward the crosswalk, their voices filling the air with pure sound, laughter, shouting, the wild joy of being young and free. At the edge of the crosswalk stands Walter Daniels. Vest on. Stop sign in hand. Same gentle eyes. Same careful watch. Next to him is Vanessa Cole. Her hair is pulled back in a simple ponytail. No heels. No designer bag. She's wearing comfortable shoes, a bright yellow vest, and a look of focused humility. "Okay, guys," she calls out, holding up the sign just like Walter taught her, "Wait for Mr. Daniels. Eyes up, phones down." She smiles a little at that last line. That used to be her problem. Now it's her warning. Cars slow to a stop. She steps out into the street, heart beating every time a car edges too close. She understands now, really understands, what it feels like to stand in that gap. On the sidewalk, a little girl with curly hair tugs at her vest. "Miss Vanessa?" she asks. "Yeah, sweetie. My mom said you're like, famous." Vanessa laughs softly. "I was infamous for a little while," she says. "There's a difference." "She said you used to drive too fast," the girl continues. "But now you help Mr. Walter. That means you changed, right?" The question hits deeper than the child could possibly know. "I'm trying," Vanessa says honestly. "I'm trying very hard." Walter steps up beside her. "She's doing good," he says to the girl. "People can change, kiddo. That's the whole point of second chances." Later that day, the Victim Impact Panel coordinator signs a form, completed. Vanessa didn't just attend the sessions, she spoke at one. She stood in front of families who'd lost loved ones and admitted what she'd done, what she almost caused, and how this strange, humbling assignment had cracked her open. At home, the senator sits at the kitchen table, reading a draft of a new bill, Enhanced Safety Measures and Penalties for Dangerous Driving in School Zones. It has bipartisan support. He glances at the framed photo on the mantel, his mother smiling beside a TV showing Judge Caprio on screen. "You were right, Mom," he murmurs. The man has a way of changing people without breaking them. Vanessa walks in, a little tired, sunburned from the morning shift. She sets a lunchbox on the counter. "One of the kids drew me this," she says, opening it. Inside is a crayon drawing, 2 stick figures holding stop signs, with a big rainbow over the crosswalk. Above it, in messy handwriting, "Thank you for keeping us safe." She stares at it for a long moment. "You know," she says quietly, "the first time I walked into that courtroom, I thought the worst thing that could happen was a fine or a headline. Turns out, the best thing that happened, was being forced to stand still long enough to see who I really was." The senator gets up, wraps his arms around her. "Who you are," he says, "is not who you were that day. But you had to face her to leave her behind." Back in the courtroom, months later, Judge Caprio flips through a stack of follow-up reports. He finds her file. Attached is a handwritten note from Walter. "Judge. Thought you'd like to know, she never missed a day. Kids love her. Respectfully. Walter Daniels." A small smile tugs at the judge's lips. "That," he says to no one in particular, is what justice is supposed to look like. The narrator's voice comes in over a slow shot of the crosswalk, the courtroom, the faces we've met. Sometimes, the most dangerous thing on the road isn't the car. It's the ego behind the wheel. In that courtroom, a woman tried to hide behind power, titles, and money. She thought a phone call could make consequences disappear. Instead, it put everything on speaker for the whole world to hear. Real justice isn't just about punishment. It's about perspective. It's about making the arrogant stand where the humble stand every day, until they remember they're human, too. You might never sit in Judge Caprio's courtroom. You might never stand at a crosswalk with a stop sign in your hand. But you will have moments where you choose. Do I use what I have to lift myself above others? Or to stand beside them? The next time you're in a hurry, the next time you think, I'm too important for this rule, remember Vanessa. Remember Walter. Remember that 1 second of pride can take away what someone spent a lifetime protecting. Justice isn't about who you are on paper. It's about who you are when no one is watching. And who you become when everyone is. Respect the law. Respect the people it protects. And never, ever forget. You are not above the crosswalk. You're just lucky to be the one walking across it.